knowing that at one point my vibration took a fell, and I'm coming out of that now, in the sense of like I know that my vibration's rising back up again. I want to kind of like use this opportunity in a good way, because like on one sense, like I feel like after going through that and like allowing myself to come back to a certain extent, it's kind of interesting, because it feels as if after you do, it's kind of like, how do I explain it? Like it's certain things that I feel that I just like, it's certain things that I feel now that like as I'm coming back out of, it's just like I don't hear anyone else talking about this shit. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, on one side, that was one thing that was gonna keep fucking me up and driving me crazy, because I didn't know. You know, it's like I don't know what the fuck is going on with me either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm sitting back trying to learn to connect and stuff like that. And at the same time, like I said before, I was having like just bad sources and stuff like that. So, yeah, the first kind of thing that I really want to talk about a little bit is just a little bit in religion, and just like a little bit of backstory to me, just kind of how I got here at the same point. For me at first, my family started off just as a lot of people in America do. My family was initially Christian until I was 5. At 5, we switched over to Islam. And I remember at around, I always remembered this thought. Like I remember it distinctly, and it like threw me off, because I remember being like around 7 when I could first like digest what the fuck they were saying in religion. Like, you know, like really being able to start digesting. What fucked me up was I remember I had this moment, and I remember I was like standing by all of these adults and stuff. And I remember like one thing I see big in religion is like, it's like, say for instance, it wouldn't be uncommon there to hear like a person under Islam be like, no, well, Christianity is wrong because of this. You know what I'm saying? Or Christianity is wrong because of that. They had this wrong. Or with us, we have this right. Thus, we have this like better form of truth or something like that, right? And I found it to be interesting, because I remember I was 7 at the time, but I was like standing by these adults, but it was fucking me up, because it was like everyone was saying that, but like to me at the same time, it was like both of them were still saying the same shit, but it was just like both got hung up over some nuances at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And like honestly, to me at the same time, like it's other type of stuff like that. Like I just stop and think about like in the sense of like how do I even explain this, bro? Like one thing that I think about, right? Like I'm not gonna cap, I'm still like aware somewhat of the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Like I still have like at least some type of understanding of different things that they're saying and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like not everybody thinks the same as me. Because like one of the questions I had at the same time was like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, not to say that I don't believe that the story has like value or anything like that. But like say for instance, like the story of Jesus, right? Like a lot of people like read it, and then they read and it's like, okay, well that's what Jesus did. But like, I don't know, I always wondered like how much of that's like possible for like a person to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, because it just kind of seemed to make sense to me. Like in the sense of like, damn, that shit just clicked in somebody's head right now. I just felt you had the epiphany, bro. Hell yeah, I can't stop now. So yeah, but like in the sense of like fucking how do I explain it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this man Jesus, he said he had 12 disciples. You know what I'm saying? And he's like over here like talking. Like I can't even remember which one it was, but he was like talking to the one guy as he's walking on water, and the dude struggles when he's talking about your faith is too weak. It's wavering too much. You're not able to stand strong on this water right now. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of saying whether or not it was literal or was representing something more allegorical, I guess the question in it is like, how much of that is, and at the same time, if he's saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like how much of this shit is teachable? Is this something, you know what I'm saying? Like in the sense of like I feel like what I'm trying to say when I say this is I feel like it's just interesting to me, because like I've looked between these different religions and stuff like that at these different like concepts and shit like that. And it's interesting to me because the more I like look at it, all of them are tied together. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I explain this? I looked from one religion to the next, and then the shit from the first one made more sense. Like I said, I started off with Christianity and Islam when I was 5. After that, the next time I got introduced to another religion was fucking 6th grade. That's when they first started doing it for us when we were in school. I don't fuck with school. I'm gonna make a video on that shit too, but that's a whole nother topic. We'll do that another day. But for the purpose of this argument here, not the argument, the statement I'm trying to make. So essentially, in 6th grade, right? That was the first time they had this class where we would where they showed us all the different 5 major religions, and it was kind of like it wasn't our social studies class. I guess it was like their attempt at kind of like, you know, bringing everyone together so that we could have that understanding of it, because it was people from our religions in our class we had. I was the Islamic one, Jehovah's Witness, Christians. There was a Buddhist guy in there too, which was fucking crazy to me because everyone failed the Buddhism test, including the Buddhism kid. He was like, "What? This can't be right, bruh." I was over here, bruh, and that bitch still ain't curved a grade, bruh. She was crazy, man. But hey, either way, like, so I remember like I was sitting back doing that, and sixth grade was crazy actually. I'm gonna come back to that for a couple stories later on, but I remember we were in Buddhism. This was the first time I ever heard the word like reincarnation, and something about it to me was like, yeah. Like, I don't know why, but somebody, like, I heard it, I was like, yeah, that just makes sense. Like, I heard the word and I didn't even know what it meant yet, but it just made sense to me. And like then I stop and like go through it and stuff like that. And like after that I remember like, of course at that point then I'm like, it's something, maybe it's something here. So I start looking at shit in there, and then it's like you can get into stuff with like the chakras and shit like that. And then what's crazy about that? Like, to me, the shit that don't make sense is like I stopped and started looking at that shit, but then it's like I start going back to the Bible and shit, and it's like they low-key talking about some of the same type of shit in it. You know what I'm saying? Like in a sense of like in Buddhism, you got the 7 main chakras. You know what I'm saying? Like root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and then your crown chakra, right? A perfect example of it. In the Bible, they say, when thy eye be single, thy entire body shall be filled with light, right? But when they're talking about the eye being single, they were talking about the third eye. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't know about that until I went over to Buddhism to realize the third eye was the Ajna chakra. So then I come back over to Christianity. I'm like, okay, now I have a piece to put the rest of this shit together. You know what I'm saying? And like, how many other things is like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense of like, I feel like to a certain point, I feel like the religion that we got to a certain extent, not to say this wrong, but I feel like it's as if we only got like certain little pieces of and like sugar cones and like other shit like put in with it at the same time. Cause like I can't, like, this is one of the things I always thought about for like the longest amount of time. And this is one of the things that to me I feel like makes it feel as if for me I have to find out the answers for myself. Because I know that there's a King James Version Bible. People may not fuck with me for saying this, but I want to be honest and share my opinion on everything. Because of the fact of this, my question was immediately, who the fuck is King James? What did he know? Did he even know the stuff in this book? Did he study it? You know what I'm saying? Like, and besides that, what other things? My thing is, if it's a King James version, that means there's a version before that. What was the version before that? And then what were the changes in that version to this version? What were they and why were they intended to be done? And on top of that, there's over 200 different versions of the same book. Also translated different ways, translated from different languages to different languages, and then back to original languages just to be translated again. So there's so many possibilities of, even if a person only accidentally just misinterpreted something because they didn't understand what it was and this was supposed to be an allegory and they rewrote it wrong, or a person who says, oh fuck, this is too much power right here and I have to change this because people shouldn't just, like, not to say that people shouldn't know about it, but in the sense of, I'm saying this from the mindset, like, what am I trying to say? The first thing I think about is this. That man is a king. He's known as King James from Europe. And one of the biggest things that we all know about Europe from school was the fact that the church and the fucking, the clergy? I can't remember the name, but the church and the clergy were always hand in hand like this. They was fucking each other. I'm talking about, it was just, like, they've always been like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I find it ironic because even still to this day today, we still kind of, honestly, even still to this day, we really do that. No one says shit about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, not to say that I find it to be right or wrong, but I just find it funny because we talk about that. But then we're the same people that, like, sometimes you have people go to court and then they tell them to swear in the Holy Bible. You know what I'm saying? And, like, not to say that I think that those things are wrong, but just at least in the sense of, like, I just find it ironic because it's like, it's the same shit. Like, it just seems like we're doing the same thing still. But, what's the last thing I was just about to say? So, yeah, like, the same way as that, like, if one of the biggest questions I have for the longest time is, I know that that's true. And I know that psychologically, the implications of what that holds. Like, if you think about it, right? When you have a nation, like, when you have your nation, especially when it's like your military, everything else, the kingship, and you got the church together, that's terrible, bro. That's the biggest way to get a population fucked up. Like, this is what I see. Like, when I look at that, I see that's the easiest way to instate a tyrant. But the thing is it's the biggest finesse way. Because like if you think about it, right, it's not about no dictator. Cause like that's the problem with a dictator. People talk about dictators are evil, tyrants are evil, right? And don't get me wrong, a lot of those people, they're using their power to force people to do things against their will. I'm not saying that those things aren't true, but at the same time, if you think about it, right, if you get a whole group of people and you say, and you like, my thing is this, you get a whole group of people, you strip them from the things of everything that was native to them, and you tell them this is what it is. And especially when you speak in terms of higher power, in the sense of like, okay, you now have a higher power over you. Not to say that I don't believe that there's balance to things. I still believe that there are laws, and I want to go into that stuff later on down the line. But at the same time, I just feel like it's far too easy from that state, especially knowing that the book is made with the name of the person who was leading this capital. I feel like it would be too easy for him to just be like, okay, well, I want to write this version and I want to make it and change things in here so that people are more scared to fall out of line. Because if you program a person with fear and they're scared to, then the question is why. It's like, that's the easiest way to stop somebody. Because my thing is like, at that point, you don't have to tell the person like not to do it anymore. They're scared to do it now. So now they're not doing it because they're scared to not do it. You see what I'm saying? And it's not like they're going to sit back and blame the dictator the same, because it's not like it's directly from the dictator in the first, like, not to say that he didn't have an influence in it, but it's not as if as many people are going to make the conscious correlation of being like, oh, what is what? You see what I'm saying? And it's just shit like that fucks me up on the inside. And like, I stopped and like, I've looked at the Bible before, and then I taking that with the things that I've seen from within myself as well, leads me with more questions. Like, if you ever think about it, right? Why is it like, even like I said, Christianity is the main example, right? All these holidays we got Easter, we got Christmas, we got fucking man. Okay, two examples: Easter and Christmas. I can't think of no more off the top of my head, but like Easter and Christmas, both of those are pagan holidays. Like, just by definition, like when you think about it, like the scavenger hunts with the rabbits, all of that stuff. Like, even that stuff's supposed to be representing the rebirth. That stuff came from paganism. Those are pagan. You know, same way with Christmas. Oh, Halloween. Perfect fucking example. Niggas is walking around here dressing up as spirits and shit like that on October 31st, which is one of the days they say is when the veil between both of them are the thinnest. And then you think about it, and you got these people dressing up as all types of crazy shit, and normally they dressing up as ghouls and all type of shit. It's like, you know, it's like you stop and start thinking about it like that, and it's like, damn, what's really going on here? And like, I ain't gonna catch it. The more I look inside, it's kind of interesting to me, because at the same time as that, like, I find it interesting because I like, because that was something to me that always fucked with me. Because to me, it was like, how the fuck you got this religion right here, which out of them, religions are categorized as polytheistic or monotheistic, right? Christianity is one of the staple religions of monotheism, right? But there are things in that book that allude to the fact that there have to be more. Like, this is something that didn't make sense to me. In the sense of like, they say, let me find a good example. I'm trying to find a good example to use for this one. Like, in the sense, they say like, okay, this is a minuscule example, but it works at least. Like, they say, follow no other God but me. Or like, they say, your God's a wrathful and jealous God, right? But both of those things, despite the fact that the religion is called monotheistic, insinuates the fact that there has to be some other hierarchy going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it says no other God, then does that mean that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like saying, like, okay, are gods real? Is it more than one of them? Is there something else going on here? And then at the same time, I stop and look at that, and it's like, why is it that at the same time as that, almost every ancient religion had multiple? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I've always loved ancient shit. So, and that's why I like the spirituality like path for me a lot better, because it's like, I stop and I look at it. Some of my favorite societies are like one of my favorites is Egypt, right? Why is it that when they talk about it, they have a pantheon? You see what I'm saying? Like, they have different beings that have this, like, they have different beings that have these different specializations, different characteristics, and operate possibly on completely different spaces. You see what I'm saying? And it's like they all have like their little like specialties and stuff like this, but there's also like hierarchies within that. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way that they say that like, you know what I'm saying? The same way that like, you know, like there's hierarchies and shit like that to it. And it's like, to me at the same time, I feel like that makes so much more sense. Like I feel like that makes sense to me in the sense of like I feel like that makes sense to me in the sense of even when you look at it and say like, okay, if there's pagan stuff here, but those things are also there, wouldn't that also just make sense? And then, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, there's nothing there that decorrelates that. And even if the religion itself is also celebrating things that are also based in these other things that say the same thing, why should I not question that? And at the same time, when I don't question that, why? My thing is at the same time, like, there's still not like that, you know, they still say like there's hierarchies and stuff like that. They were still saying that there was a one, and then from the one spawned other things, you know, like the one created other things and stuff like that. So I'm like, to me, I just find that to be really interesting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just kind of like a little bit of stuff I want to talk about. Just in terms of like, you know what I'm saying, just in terms of religion. But then at the same time, like I said, I've studied a lot of different other things. So I kind of do like this like spiritual, the spiritual path that I've been going down now, at least now that I've really like sat back and like started to really acclimate myself to it a little bit more. In the past, I started to learn a little bit about, just a little bit about like Qigong before, and I also, like I said, I studied other stuff like that. I had like one guy, he taught me Tai Chi for literally a couple of days though, so I don't really like count it all like that. But at the same time, I really just like stop and reflect on this, and regardless of it, I mean, shit, I've been seeing results. I figured out who the fuck I am now, so you know what I'm saying? But yeah, honestly, I really just want to just kind of like say some stuff that could at least just be thought provoking, you know what I'm saying? Because honestly, I've realized this at this point, that like so many different people think so fucking differently. You see what I'm saying? And it's not even to say that like people just think differently. Not everybody is the same, you know what I'm saying? And not until recently did I realize how much different people can really think from each other, you know what I'm saying? And now that I have, at the same time, it's just kind of, it's interesting to me at the same time, because I wonder how many other people are sitting back that even have a single question like this, you know what I'm saying? And like I said in the last video, it's a lot of lies out here, man. At the end of the day, the best thing that you can trust is yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother thing, because I want to speak on that. Another thing too, because when I wasn't trusting myself, like that's the fastest way to like end up feeling like you don't like yourself. And self-love is definitely important. That's something I'm learning more about every day, honestly. But at the same time, yeah, I just wanted to, you know, kind of say it like this, because honestly, at the same time, I don't ever really know, you know, what's going to happen. I have no idea even what the fuck this video will do, you know what I'm saying? It could be 2 people to watch this, or who knows, this bitch could blow the fuck up. I have literally no idea. But at the same time, it just kind of makes me curious, because like on one side, I'm stopping and I'm learning about all of this stuff, and I want to bring in more knowledge as I go, of course, but at the same time, I also just want to kind of like get a good foundation, speak on some of the stuff that I've been holding on to for a while, so I can just start to get it out there, so that as I'm expanding at the same time, I don't have to like keep jumping back and forth, you know what I'm saying? So we can have this stuff from the past already set in the way that it is. So yeah, overall, I think I said everything I want to say. My thoughts are, my conscience feels pretty clear right now, so I don't think there's anything else that, it feels like it's really just trying to come through at the moment.